You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. To get a sense of how desperate they are, look how desperate they are in Georgia. They've been attacking Pastor Raphael Warnock, and they're trying to Jeremiah Wright him. They've been sending around, and I've seen it from Dinesh D'Souza to Nikki Haley, Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio, all these people here. So go to my iPad. This is the 26-second video that they have been sending around. So watch this.
America, nobody can serve God and the military. You can't serve God and money. You cannot serve God and mammon at the same time. America, choose ye this day whom you will serve. Choose ye this day.
Now that's it. That's the clip. No other context. Oh, they've been trashing him, saying he's against the military and how dare he, and Georgia voters. So Nikki Haley actually, so I'm going to show you the attack ad they put out. Y'all play the video. This is what Nikki Haley and the Republicans are now using to attack the faith of Pastor Raphael Warnock. Watch.
How bad is Raphael Warnock for America? Let's count the ways. Raphael Warnock is a proud defender of anti-America Pastor Jeremiah Wright. That's right, this guy.
No, 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 not God bless America, God damn America.
Warnock's response?
We celebrate Reverend Wright. He is a preacher and a prophet.
Warnock even called police gangsters and thugs.
Police power showing up in a kind of gangster and thug mentality.
Warnock's church hosted a love fest with communist dictator Fidel Castro. And Warnock signed an anti-Semitic letter accusing Israel of apartheid and supporting boycotting Israel. Warnock eulogized cop killer Troy Davis. Warnock supports socialized medicine that would end private insurance and put government in charge of health care decisions. And Raphael Warnock supports trillions in new tax increases, even on working families. So how bad is Raphael Warnock for America?
Come on.
Let's review.
All right, I can bail out of that crap. Now, I want y'all to show what they did there, Robert. First of all, they put all the black stuff up front, and they put the taxes and the health care stuff at the back. They throw in there that he gave a eulogy to Troy Davis. I didn't realize it was against Christianity for pastors to give eulogies to folk who died. But I guess for them, it doesn't even matter. But there's a video that somebody sent me. First of all, I'm trying to get my hands on the full sermon so we can have the sermon in context. I had to do the exact same thing when it went after Reverend Jeremiah Wright. But y'all watch this. Republicans not going to show y'all this video. This here is a video of Raphael Warnock welcoming to his church a Republican named Johnny Isakson. Who is that? Oh, that's the Republican who was a U.S. Senator from Georgia before Kelly Loeffler. This was at Ebenezer Baptist Church. Watch.
He and I are friends. We've had a good relationship and good dialogue across the years. He's a father and a grandfather. He's here with his lovely wife, Diane. Stand up, Mrs. Isakson. We're glad to see you, Mrs. Isakson. She said, yes. Would you give a great big Ebenezer welcome to Senator Johnny Isakson? He just wants to say hello and goodbye. We're grateful for his service.
Raphael, thank you very much. Raphael and I are on first name basis. We are great friends, and I consider him one of the great friends I've gained over the years in being in public life. That's the one thing about public life. You make lots of friends. You want to make sure, always sure they're not ones with their picture in the post office, but there were others at Ebenezer Church or some other good place to pray. But I'm glad to be here today to bring you a message, and I asked to come. I called Raphael and said, can I come? He said, well, you're leaving. I said, no, I'm not leaving, I'm just retiring. There's a difference. Leaving is the next step, and I ain't hurrying that one up in at all. But I wanted to come and just say thank you for all the things you've done for me over the last 45 years. I've been in elected office 45 years in Georgia. I was born here in 1944, and I've been here ever since, and love this city and love this place and love all of you. And as Raphael said, started coming to the King celebration service when I got elected Republican leader of the House, Georgia House, 28 years ago, or whenever that was, a long time ago. And I came because I thought I should, and then I came because I wanted to. And I came because my bladder could handle it. It is a long time to sit through, that's sure. But I come to tell you three things. One is chairman of the Veterans Committee in the Senate. As a veteran myself, how many veterans do we have in the congregation today? Raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. For all of you who notice, that's more people proportionately that are in any other church that have served in the service. Less than 1% of the people who serve in our military today service is protecting us. Less than 1%. And they're all volunteers. Think about that. The greatest of this country is in large measure because we can depend on them at any point, any time, any place, no matter what somebody does. And just yesterday in Pensacola, a terrorist killed an American airman. They're in his second year of training. Another wasteful shooting on an institutional campus somewhere in our state. We've got to make sure that stuff stops. And as long as I have a breath in my body, whether I'm in elected office or not, I'm going to do everything I can to see to it that we get end violence in our schools, end violence in our shopping centers, and our Walmarts, and our churches, and everything else. Taking a life is taking a gift from God to us, and we should never, ever.
So, Robert, here is a Republican U.S. Senator standing with Raphael Warnock talking about veterans and military service, but the Republicans want to say Warnock is against the military.
Well, two things. Putting that sermon in context, I'm actually at both of those church services. I'm a member at Ebenezer. In the first video of Warnock, I'm in the second row all the way to on the left, all the way to the right in the pews. I should probably go back to church more often. But what we're seeing now is that Republicans have found a candidate that they have nothing to attack them on. They found somebody who's nearly squeaky clean, who's really lives the life that we want our pastors to live, and therefore they have to make up things to run against them on. The same thing that happened to President Obama, where you have to attack Jeremiah Wright's words, not his words, actually. And this goes towards a continuous battle and destruction that white evangelical Christians have launched against the black church. They only believe you should be Christian when you agree with them, when you're preaching the same word as them. You cannot share your own individual lived life experiences as Jeremiah Wright did or as other pastors have, and that's why they attack them. Meanwhile, Franklin Graham or Billy Graham or Pat Roberts can say whatever they feel like, and that's off limits. So let's understand what this is. It's an attack on the black church and the body of Christ within the black community. And I think that has to be remembered on January the 4th, or more so on December 14th when early voting starts, or even right now when you can start requesting your absentee ballots, or all the way until December 7th when you can register to vote in Georgia. Because we cannot stand to have Republicans attacking the body of Christ in the name of Christianity itself, a Christianity which is profligate, which believes in excessive spending, which believes in taking away social services from the poor, that believes that universal health care is somehow a bad thing that pastors should be against. Let's understand what this battle is really about. You have somebody like Kelly Loeffler, who has the temerity, the audacity to make attacks against the character of Pastor Warnock, and nobody knows what she's done in her life besides marry a rich dude who bought her a Senate seat as a present. She has no history of politics. We don't know what her career was before this. All we know is that she married into a family that owned the New York Stock Exchange, and they bought her a Senate seat. And you're trying to impugn the character of Pastor Warnock in this way. Y'all are lucky that I don't work on the Warnock campaign team, because all these nice commercials of him walking through a grocery store talking about how much he loves dogs and puppies and eats pizza with a fork, it will be scorched earth if I was on that campaign, because I do not believe it is appropriate, and we allow people too long to get away with attacking the black church as a political punching bag, as if we mean nothing to our community. Those pastors preach the lived experiences of their communities and their congregations, and I don't see them showing the videos of Pastor Warnock with the Occupy Atlanta people ministering to the homeless, his drug treatment ministry. I had a client once whose mother was convicted of a crime she didn't commit and sentenced to 20 years. Pastor Warnock hopped on that immediately to help get that woman out of prison. That doesn't make the news. But when you want to make up these attacks on the black church and then claim to be the party of Christianity, that is what the level of disgust that I think many of us have with the quote-unquote evangelical movement, and why we have to work overtime to get an actual man of God into the Senate instead of these phony, fake, circumspect, only conveniently Christians that are only Christian when it lines their pockets. They're ready to sell out stocks on coronavirus instead of dealing with the needs of the American people.
The thing here, Lauren, again, their whole goal, you take a soundbite like that, 26 seconds, get circulated. I put Eric Erickson and Hugh Hewitt on blast by saying, is there anything else to it? Do y'all want to find that? But also find it interesting, Lauren. So let's attack Pastor Raphael Warnock's faith, but we can't say jack about Amy Coney Barrett's faith.
Of course not. Of course not. It all sort of throws back to the trying to radicalize black candidates. I mean, this has been going on forever, really before the Southern strategy. It's the same old thing of trying to portray black candidates, particularly black male candidates, as somehow radical. And really, the whole goal here is, we're scaring white people. And we've seen it a million times. It was done to Reverend Jesse Jackson when he ran, obviously Obama. It's the same thing, the same playbook. And what the Republican Party seems to never figure out is that these are the types of ads that only appeal to the people who would vote against Warnock anyway. So it's all a big waste of time. Who are they going for? Are they going for swing voters? Well, if they're going for swing voters, that's not going to work. Everybody knows that Pastor Warnock pastors in the same church that Martin Luther King pastored in. That's not going to work with progressives, white progressives in Atlanta. So these things are just thrown out there, 26 seconds. And at some point, and I will help you find it, Roland, the entire sermon will be found, because of course you can play this game all day, not only with the entire sermon, but of course with a million other sermons that Pastor Warnock has made. You can run 26 seconds of other things that are going to, of course, counter whatever that was. And frankly, I didn't think that was a particularly jarring passage at all. But I'm sure that when we find what he said around it, it's going to put it in a certain context and blow that all away. But this is desperation, because they cannot have the Senate be 50-50. See, the bigger issue here is that the House is looking like the Democrats are barely over the majority at 221. They're barely at 218. And then if you have the Senate, of course, tied, and Kamala having to sit up in the, as the presiding officer, obviously it's president of the Senate, to break that tie, this gets real. So these two Senate seats, this thing is obviously huge. So now they're going to go scorched earth. They're going to go desperate, and they're dealing with Raphael Warnock, who there's nothing on. So we're going to reach the desperate hours pretty quickly here.
The thing here that I find to be hilarious is that you got folk like Marco Rubio, Scott, who loves to tweet out Bible verses. I mean, he sent this tweet, go to my iPad. Not shocked, Georgia Democrat Senate candidate Raphael Warnock said you cannot serve God and the military at the same time. These and even crazier things is what the radicals who control the Democratic Party's activists and small donor base believe. Now, here's how Mark Lamont Hill will respond to him. Christians believe in the Bible. Matthew 6:24 says, no one can serve two masters. Warnock is a minister who was pointing out that God must come first. Do you disagree with the Bible or the words of Jesus, or just when Warnock says it?
Exactly. I am so tired of politics of fear. And that ad, I mean, I agree with my colleagues, but I'll be honest with you, we can go get the full text of his speech or his presentation, but it feels defensive if you do that. Raphael is a man of God. Jeremiah Wright is a man of God. They're servant leaders. And when you attack them, because of something they've said or because their love of their people, it just rings hollow with those Democrats, those independents, black or white, as well as the black community in regard to how important this election is. And the Republicans, Lauren, you're right. They just operate in fear. They don't have anything else to operate in because the numbers are against them. And so I think Raphael Warnock has got to stand on his own. He can defend himself, no doubt about it. But remember, while it was close, Georgia is a purple state. It's turned slightly blue, but it's going to turn all the way blue if we can mobilize these Democrats who are running for Senate. It's all about the ground game now. I mean, they can run the ads and try to scare people, but whoever has the strongest ground game, they both have money, and mobilizing and getting people to the polls is going to make the difference. And right now, in my opinion, that's really all that matters. What is your ground game, Raphael and Ossoff? And can you motivate and can you get them to the polls? You just count them.
Well, bottom line is this here. All I'm saying, Robert, I want to see black folks maximize the hell out of our numbers. I'm talking about Stacey Abrams has already said some 600,000 Georgians have already requested their ballot by mail. I'm talking about black Georgia. Black Georgia, I'm talking about if you want to send a signal, if you want to tell them what y'all trying to play this game with Reverend Jeremiah Wright and these sermons, you hit them with so many votes, they going to look up and say, oh, my Lord, has there been an exodus? What's going on? That's how you respond to white Republican hate, Robert.
Well, on that point, remember, I was at that sermon. What Pastor Warnock was saying, it replaced the word military with militarism, that you cannot serve both God and the God of militarism, that you cannot both serve God and a profligate economy that does not care for the least of these. He was making very clear biblical points, and that's why they took it out of context. Even on the conversation about police officers, where they say he called police thugs. No, he calls the police officers who beat and kill people thugs. Not every police officer, the one bad apple.
Now we all know that. But again, their goal. They know they dumb followers can't read.
But to that point, I think it's important to understand, look, the normally voter turnout for runoff elections in Georgia is 10%. So in this general election, there were right around 5 million votes cast, split right down the middle. So if 500,000 people turn out for the runoff, that will be right at average. With that, you only need 50% plus one to win. So we're talking about 250,000 plus one votes. We'll decide the layout of the Senate. We'll decide the balance of power. We'll decide Medicare for all. We'll decide student loan reform. We'll decide defense spending and tax cuts and entitlement programs and Social Security and Medicare. All that will come down to 250,000 plus one people in Georgia. And then whenever someone tells you that they don't think their vote matters, understand how small of a number that is. And that's why it's important to support groups like NAACP under James Woodall in Georgia, who are working. They're sending out absentee ballot request forms to every single person who voted in the general election. People like D. Dawkins Hagler and the Deltas down there who knocked on 200,000 doors headed into the general election will do the same going into the runoff. People like INSAE and the New Georgia Project, Latasha Brown and Black Voters Matter, Rainbow Push Coalition, who's working with the incarcerated populations to do in-custody voting. We have so many people working this, and understand that's why they are running these desperate ads. That's why they're taking things out of context and running. If you're 18 years old voting in this election, you don't know who the hell Jeremiah Wright is. They are only playing to a certain subset of very old, elderly, conservative white voters and hoping that they will turn out. So all that Black Voices for Trump stuff that they were talking about 6 weeks ago, that's all gone. They're going directly back to attacking the body of Christ in the Black church, attacking the Black community, and making sure that they push this messaging to scare old white people into believing that Pastor Warnock is some kind of Black radical who hangs out Fidel Castro. This is the desperate play that they do to try to radicalize Black men. We've seen this, everything from Dr. King, where they called him a communist, to Run Jesse Run in 84 and 88, to Barack in 08, and now Warnock in 2020.
Listen up, all my black... Look, y'all, let me just try to be as clear as possible. Last comment on this story. I want to whoop their ass. I'm talking about I want to whoop the ass of Loeffler, of Purdue. I want them to feel the pain and the agony of losing to Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. I want them to have to sit there and watch them votes come in from Gwinnett County and come in from Fulton County and just hit their ass like a hurricane has hit Georgia. And I want them to have to sit there and go, damn, how many black people did we piss off? That's the only way. Everybody who's listening to my voice, you should be telling every friend, frat brother, sorority sister, church member, nephew, niece, cousin, mama, daddy, aunt, friend, you name it, living in Georgia. I'm talking about when they had Get Your Booties to the Poll, when they had the folks, I don't give a damn if you love Magic City. I don't care if you love them hot wings. I'm talking about you send a message to racists by throwing their ass out. And there's nothing better than those racists that have to stand there and watch a black man sworn in as the next United States Senator. That's the only way you defeat them, and you make them pay the price at the ballot box. That's how you do it.
Folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one.
Folks at Seek.com, founded by Mary Spio, a sister, have these amazing VR headsets. Allows for you to watch their content, the virtual reality content, right here on the headset. You simply pop your phone right into here, close it up, and then you will put yourself in the room watching their VR content on Seek.com, or, of course, content that is on other platforms. And so you can check that out. They also have these are 4D 360-degree headphones right here with tremendous bass that really distributes the sound all across your head. It's great. You can attach a headset to it, so you can actually use it for gaming and playing with free hands. There's Bluetooth as well. So all of these, get one of these items, or you can subscribe to the content at Seek.com by going to Seek.com using this promo code. It's RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020. These, of course, could be some great headphones coming up for birthdays, Christmas, you name it. And so if you want to do that, just go use the promo code right here, RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020, by going to Seek.com. And we certainly appreciate them being a partner here with Roland Martin Unfiltered.